One day, I was born, and then everything bothered me, and that brings us up to date. Me when someone asks me about my life and I immediately forget everything I've ever done. In a way, because I just remember too many things, and then it just looks like I'm trying to remember what I did, but really I'm just trying to figure out what of all the million things that pop into my head I am going to tell you. And to sum it up, I'm just gonna start using this because it seems about it really just seems too right, you know? Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. It is time for Neurodivergent memes again because I got the urge to sort through all the pictures on my phone and I found a lot of memes, so there we are. Don't ask me why it happens, it just randomly happens sometimes, you know? But anyways, you know the deal. Before we continue, y'all gotta get hydrated. So grab some water, or some tea, or whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll continue. Are you hydrated? Good. Let's go. Moments before I passed out, every password I could never remember flashed before my eyes. Listen, it would already be bad if this happens to me now. But imagine I get to that age and then have it happen, because I cannot remember passwords. It is very problematic. Listen, even if my life depended on it, I could not tell you the password for my email that I use for this YouTube channel. I literally couldn't tell you. But do you just remember the password, or did you just see the passwords flashing before your eyes, or like in combination with the web page or something you needed it for? Because just knowing the password is probably gonna be very useless unless you're the type of person that has like one set password, like name of my pet Charlie or whatever dot 13 dot Netflix dot Spotify. You know, there are people who do that kind of thing. In that case, it might be easier to remember actually, and it might actually work if you just see the password flashing. I'm really into writing short fiction, mainly to-do lists. Listen, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with to-do lists, really, because sometimes it really works, and sometimes just like because then when you like add things that are like really easy to do, like drink coffee, and sometimes that can like already be enough, you know, the feeling of crossing it off to, you know, get you started to do other things. So sometimes they really work. Most of the time I will spend so much energy on making a list of all the things that I could do that it just gets so long and I get so overwhelmed because I want to do everything. Because then I started thinking about all the things I could do, and then I'm just overwhelmed and I hate it. And then it's not even like short fiction anymore, it's just escalated fiction, you know? So honestly, having like a short weekly plan, you know, of on which days I'm gonna film which video and when I'm gonna edit it and when I'm gonna go to the gym and when I go into the office, because I have like 2 days a week that I have to go into the office and the rest I can do in home office, and I'm really glad I can choose those days myself, by the way, you know, and kind of just structure it out with like a few points. So then I usually just have like 4 or 5 points per day, you know, because I also like add in grocery shopping, or if I'm gonna like meet up with friends to watch a series or something. And honestly, that just works better for me than just trying to write out a to-do list each evening for the next day or each morning for that day, because no. Okay, I cannot tell you how much the "there's not enough enrichment in my enclosure" joke has helped my mental health, because for some reason I can't comprehend, pretending that I'm a zookeeper caring for an animal, which is also me, just makes everything easier to comprehend. Like, your head gets screwy when your apartment is messy, just doesn't carry as much resonance as the tiger becomes agitated when its enclosure is cluttered. Because then I'll be like, no shit, the tiger? I gotta keep things nice and clean for the tiger. But you're the tiger. But it still works. Because then your brain is just kind of busy focusing on like, or picturing like a sad tiger that's just like sitting in a super messy cage somewhere, that it's just so much easier to do things, because the part of your brain that would really just stop you from actually doing things is kind of busy picturing the sad tiger. It is like, no, we can't do that. No, go do the thing. Anything. Something. Do something. Somebody help this poor tiger. And it really works, and it's so stupid. But I love things that are like really stupid but really work. Because if someone tells you this for the first time, you just kind of look at them like they're crazy, like that. You can't be serious, like that can't seriously help. But it does. And I'm here for it. I wish someone would create a cookbook for neurodivergence that includes the reason why we do each step and also has pictures. Why the top rack? Why low speed? Why this, then that? Why? Why? Just why? And what does that even look like? Honestly, this. Because if you're like me and you're very patient, like a step telling you, do this slowly, do it carefully, use low speed, it might take longer, but do it. Why? If you don't tell me why I need to do it a certain way, chances are I'm gonna do it the way that's most convenient, which might work, but it might also not work. So I'm kind of gonna need you to be more specific. And then like normal cookbooks or whatever, or like normal recipe blogs or anything, just have like one picture at the top that's like super well made, and it's probably edited, and it might not be real food, especially like old cookbooks where they just like use random stuff, or like the same with like ads, it's just edited and it doesn't look real. And then just kind of like having realistic pictures of what it's probably just gonna look like would be really cool. As an autistic person, what do you think could help the autistic community? Accommodations. People speaking for you? Accommodations. Autism awareness. Accommodations. Oh, I know. Fidget spinners. Accommodations. No. Best we can do is sell t-shirts with a slogan to make money for obviously very important autism research, Accommodations, no. Actually doing research, or like actually spending the money you earn on research, no. Because we know very well what autism supposedly looks like in little boys. What it looks like in adults, or people who were assigned female at birth, not so much. So research would also be good, but just listening to the autistic person in front of you when they say accommodations might also be a good idea, I'm autistic. Of course my special interest has become my entire personality. I feel like everyone who may have literally just been undiagnosed, or actually knows they're autistic like from early on because they're diagnosed early, has definitely heard this before. Because like a lot of people might like dinosaurs, or a lot of people might like a certain band, but then it's suddenly all you can think about and all you want to talk about, and when people don't talk about it, it's really weird and it really doesn't interest you and you can't pay attention because you're just busy thinking about that thing. Listen, we've all heard it. Do I have too many shirts about my special interest? Probably. Do I think I need more? Absolutely. Will I be mad if someone says they don't like it? Probably. Because they never phrase it in a polite, oh, it's not for me kind of thing, because people just get very rude about it. And then you gotta be mad about it. Just me? I don't think it's just me, I don't believe you. I'm autistic. Of course I worry that I'm faking being autistic. I feel like this one's specifically for the people who are either like not officially diagnosed or who were diagnosed pretty late in life. You know, because yeah, I feel like if you're diagnosed as a child, you kind of had like some time to come to terms is the wrong phrasing, but like you've known that about yourself for so long because you were diagnosed very early that I feel like it might not be so accurate that you worry so much about faking it. But yeah, I think if you're worried about faking it, like most people aren't gonna go around thinking they're autistic when they're not. You know, because sooner or later they're gonna come across something and just be like, no, I really can't be. Or don't even question it to begin with because they have no reason to, you know? Okay, since it's still April and it's still Autism Awareness Month, which I somehow entirely missed last year, but I noticed this year, and I have a kind of long post by the person who did the previous memes, so we're just gonna check it out. Okay, number 1. All autistic people are different. Just like neurotypical people are all different, so are autistic people. If you have met one autistic person, then you have met one autistic person. All autistic people have different strengths, struggles, traits, and needs. Number 2. Please try and understand why we stim and let us stim. Stimming stands for self-stimulatory behavior, and it's often, but not always, a repetitive action or a sound. Stimming includes hand flapping, walking on tiptoes, lighting up objects, rocking backwards and forwards. Here are some reasons why autistic people stim. To prevent shutdowns or meltdowns, to process the day, to cope with anxiety, to use up excess energy, to feel in control, to distract, to communicate, to regulate senses, to express emotions, to focus, or simply for enjoyment. Number 3. School and the education system can be traumatic when you're autistic. Being in school can be really overwhelming for an autistic person. There is often an emphasis on conformity and fitting in. It feels like a system where one kind of brain is valued and it is not the autistic one. School can be overwhelming sensory-wise and full of unspoken rules. There are also the academic demands and unpredictable nature of the school day. It can be a fight to access support, and too often our needs are not met. It is time for an education system which values all types of minds. Number 4. Communication is a two-way process. It's not just a deficit on our part. Communication is a two-way process. It is proposed that the communication issues that autistic people face is a problem that goes both ways. Non-autistic people have trouble with figuring out what autistic people are thinking and feeling, whilst autistic people also have trouble with figuring out what non-autistic people are thinking and feeling. This can lead to communication difficulties. Communication difficulties are not down to one person in the interaction, but they're a responsibility for both people. 5. Autistic people need more representation. Autism is not accurately represented on TV, and many portrayals of autistic people have perpetuated the stereotype which already exists. Autistic people, for too long, have been left out of the process of portraying autistic characters on screen. The lack of representation of autism on screen has led to autistic people not realizing they're autistic and the general public not understanding autism. Multiply marginalized people are even less likely to be represented on screen. 6. Autistic people are being locked away. 2,030 autistic people and people with learning disabilities are inpatient mental health hospitals in England alone. It is recognized that there are a lot of struggles that autistic people face in inpatient mental health units, and that these units are often not helpful for autistic people. Sometimes these units are hundreds of miles away from autistic people's homes. Often these units are not adapted to the needs of autistic people, as wards can be really unpredictable and overloading sensory-wise. 7. Autistic people often face health inequalities. Autistic people are at the risk of dying younger and developing health conditions including heart disease, diabetes, epilepsy, and high blood pressure. Autistic people are also less likely to get the health checks, treatment, and screening that we need. There needs to be more adjustment and support for autistic people in healthcare settings. It is also important for autistic people to be taken seriously by professionals. 8. The autism diagnosis system is inaccessible. There is still limited knowledge and understanding of what autism looks like, particularly in those from marginalized groups. Autism was originally studied in white cis men, which has meant there is a lack of acknowledgement and understanding of how autism represents in marginalized groups. Similarly, the autism diagnosis process is also inaccessible with waiting lists which are years long. The cost to access a private diagnosis can be thousands of pounds. Not everyone wants a professional diagnosis, which is 100% valid, but those who do should be able to access one. Like I said, a long post, and I'm not even really gonna say anything to this because they said it really well to begin with. So we're just gonna leave it. You know, if you do you want to know more about these specific points, they left the references under each picture that they did, so feel free to go back and check them out. I know you're gonna forget about the video probably, but that's okay. I can handle most things in life, but hearing people eat with their mouth open is not one of them. Because chewing noises and like slurping noises and like drinking noises are all very bad, but someone just making it so much worse and so much louder by chewing with their freaking mouth open. I'm gonna commit crimes and we both don't want that, so please don't. Because one of the worst things my parents did when I was younger, when I really did not feel like eating and I was really not hungry, I still had to sit at the table while my parents were eating. And in those cases, it was always when I was just like too emotional or like too angry to eat, or because we had an argument or whatever. So they weren't really talking either. So all I could hear was the chewing noises, and it was hell. Don't do this. Don't do this. I mean, I don't actually go around hitting people just because they're chewing loudly either, you know, I just leave now that I'm an adult and can, you know, but still, why would you be unpleasant on purpose, you know? Today I learned that when neurotypicals say challenge, they don't mean struggle and suffering. So the idea of being outside of your comfort zone is really just being in a space where you have fewer certainties, rather than immerse yourself in your own personal hell in order to burn away your weaknesses and emerge altered by the alchemy of suffering. And that really stuck with me. Also not really a meme. Like someone commented on one of my recent videos that these aren't memes, because fair, I think that video also had a lot of text posts, but I don't care. Sometimes I just include things because I find them interesting. Or in this case, because I thought they might be helpful, because yeah, I feel like if you're generally someone who gets uncomfortably easy because a lot of situations are hell sensory-wise, or because you don't do well with like unwritten like social rules, then challenging yourself or putting yourself out of your comfort zone is easier said than done, because for these people it's like, oh well, you do something that's not really risky or dangerous to you or super uncomfortable, it's just like a little bit uncomfortable. But if a lot of things are already like a little bit uncomfortable for you, then someone telling you that you just need to push yourself and challenge yourself a bit is kind of counterproductive, and you don't have to listen to those people. Productive procrastination. Doing stuff to keep busy while avoiding what really needs to be done. Just as like a phrase to use. Without any judgment, really. Because the thing is, if you really need to take out the trash, but instead you're cleaning your bathroom because you're trying to avoid the thing that actually needs to be done, it's still good. It's still good to have a clean bathroom and to do that. Or if you really need to do something, honestly, yeah, sure. Like, honestly, as soon as the thing you actually need to do gets urgent enough, you might still be able to do it. And you should be able to do it at some point. Hopefully. If not, feel free to ask for help, you know? But still, we're not coming for this. Because, honestly, taking care of yourself can be productive too. If you're trying to avoid what you actually need to do and you're just making yourself a nice meal, or going for a walk, or whatever, that still counts as productive procrastination, because honestly, taking care of yourself is productive too. I think I'm autistic, but you were such a well-behaved child. I think I'm autistic, but you did so well in school. I think I'm autistic, but you are such a good worker. I think I'm autistic. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. Thank you. Why are autistic people the only ones that believe me when I say I'm autistic? Because once again, people have no idea what autism actually looks like. They have an idea of what, like, high support need autism looks like. Like, especially if you're late diagnosed and you were masking a lot, and then you learn to hide a lot of your struggles, so they don't see those struggles from the outside. But other people who are also autistic will still be able to recognize it, because even if you are kind of good at hiding, it's harder to hide from people who have also kind of gotten used to hiding those same things. Like, they're still able to pick up on it. And honestly, autistic people know what it's like not being believed, so they will believe you. You know? But yeah, unless you're like the absolute walking stereotype of autism, people won't know. And if you don't tell them, they'll say some shit about autistic people in your presence because they don't know you are. And they would never believe you anyways. So it really doesn't matter. But in that case, at least you know who to keep your distance from because they've said some shit, you know? Then I am not gonna read all of this, but we have Autism Bingo, which I just filled out beforehand and actually managed to get a bingo because we also have an ADHD bingo, which surprisingly I also managed to fill out beforehand and did not actually manage to get a bingo, which is kind of disappointing, really, you know. And I'm just gonna leave the blank ones on screen for a bit as well, if you want to screenshot them and fill them out yourself or something. Feel free. I just thought it was kind of funny, really, to kind of do this. Doesn't really mean too much, you know, but it's kind of a fun thing to do. Guys, I have finally found a way for all of us burned out former gifted kids to enjoy new pieces of media. Just read a bunch of spoilers, like a ton of them. Watch some video essays on it too. By doing this, you will become familiar with that piece of media and it's gonna make it easier to enjoy it because it won't really be new. The era of rewatching the same 3 TV shows again and again is finally over. I've managed to do this with like 6 animes and 3 TV shows. It works, trust me. Gifted Kid Syndrome, Gifted Kid Burnout, Gifted Kid Problems, Gifted Kid Shit, ADHD. My first instinct would be like for ADHD it might seem more hindering because if it's like really new, then it's like the new and shiny and it might work better. But personally for me, or like if you have like autism or like ADHD, it would probably really work. Because if it's familiar, it's good, right? And then honestly, this kind of just makes sense because people never listen when I ask them to give me spoilers. Because I've, like, ever since I was a teenager, I said I like spoilers and I want spoilers, but other people never give them to me because then they think I'll be disappointed when I watch it because I'll already like know part of what's gonna happen. And even if I ask them to like spoiler tiny details, they never do, and it makes me insane. It makes me so angry. But honestly, this just that makes sense. Will I still entirely rewatch the same shows? Absolutely. You cannot stop me. I will always do that. Especially like one of my favorite shows is still Doctor Who, and there are just like a bunch of episodes that I really, really like that I will rewatch a million times more, and you really can't stop me because I really enjoy doing it. And people will always like thinking it's weird that I like rewatching things and asking for spoilers, but really it just makes sense in my head somehow. And as someone who has a hard time starting new things because it's so new, this will probably help. And honestly, I feel like I should really start doing that when I want to watch something. Because like with movies, it might be okay, because then it's like 2 hours. If you don't like it, then it's not too bad. If you start a series, it just kind of feels like you have to continue watching it, but you won't anyways because you're not enjoying it. Kind of finding out beforehand with spoilers is probably a good idea. Due to personal reasons, I will be developing a mad obsession with an obscure subject that will distract me from my issues for the next 4 to 6 months. goodbye, see you later. And again, we're not gonna come for this kind of behavior on this channel, because honestly, like, it doesn't even have to be super obscure. Like, it really, really doesn't matter what it is to me. Like, it really doesn't matter to me what the obsession is what I'm trying to say. Because honestly, why would anyone else care? Like, if it's something you're passionate about and something that kind of makes your life seem meaningful, even if it just seems meaningful to you that you always have something to obsess over because it changes every couple of months, who cares? If you enjoy doing it, if you enjoy engaging with this thing or topic and like reading about it or finding out new facts about it, go off, have fun. What are you doing here? Go read the article you've had open for like 2 weeks about this topic. You know, because I'm not gonna lie, I would probably do the same thing. You have no idea how many times I've gotten distracted while watching a video because this person said something that reminded me of another video I have open in my 25 to 30 tabs. And then I've just come back to the video I was watching like 2 weeks later. I was like, oh, I haven't finished that. Right. So honestly, I won't be mad because I've done the same thing numerous times. It's okay. I'm not a morning person or a night person. There are a few minutes in the afternoon where I'm decent, and that's about it. This is just me lately, because not just lately, well, actually, especially lately, let's put it that way. It's very easy as a neurodivergent person to be exhausted a lot. And then it just feels like you're always tired. And if you're not like necessarily feeling tired, you probably have some other health issues. Because apparently all autistic people have problems with their digestions. Mine seem to be getting worse, which is great. You know, stuff like that. So you're probably not feeling well. And then you're just like already tired again because too many things have already happened that day. So yeah, a few decent minutes in the afternoon seem about right. They do seem about right. How are we gonna fix this? I don't know, but we might at some point. So yeah, if you have like helpful strategies or like tips that really helped you, feel free to leave them down in the comments, because yeah, if I find posts about like tips people have, I will include them in my videos, because as much as I love memes, I also love talking and sharing tips. So, you know, that's what we're doing on this channel. So that was all the posts I have for today. I'm really glad my pictures on my phone are sorted once again. It's honestly a great feeling, you know? But anyways, I hope you enjoyed these posts, and I'll be back in a few days with my next video.